Welcome back, everybody, to Wolves After Dark. I am back from my move. Hopefully you can hear me. I think you can hear me. Let me see if you can hear me. You can hear me. I've got my iPad in front of me, sorry. And I am in my new apartment. As you can see, I don't have the fancy lights behind me. I don't have a lot, but we're here. And the Timberwolves won, beating the 76ers in what should have been a pretty easy game, but in Timberwolves fashion, we made it very difficult. At the end of the day, though, Timberwolves do win, and a game that they should have won. The 76ers are hurt right now. They just played yesterday. The Timberwolves have had a lot of rest over the last week. I think they've only had Sunday, Wednesday, and Saturday now. So it should be pretty easy. But man, yeah. Thank you, Gerald. Love the new studio. I appreciate it. But boy, I was having fun watching this game. I just got my internet yesterday, and I was thinking that I wasn't even going to be able to watch the game really, other than on my phone, which I wasn't going to do a show if that happened. But either way, we're here. But yeah, the first three quarters, I was having a really good time. Like, this was like good basketball, and I'm like, man, the last time I was on the show, I was talking about how D'Lo was like trying so hard, and that he was still failing at a lot of things, and that was like a red flag for me. Here we are, and D'Lo still has his issues. He's still getting beat. At the first play of the game, he got beat defensively, but then right back, he does the same thing to Philadelphia, and just comes right back and does it. So that was fun. Towns had a decent game. Honestly, Towns has had some good games now. Gerald, I heard that you were hacked in the Discord, saying nice things about Cat. So definitely confirmed hacked. But one thing that was not fun tonight, as everybody will agree with, is watching Joel Embiid get to the free throw line. Now, if there's any 76ers fans that for some reason are watching a Timberwolves post-game show from just me, let it be known that I am not necessarily the biggest hater of I hate the free throws. It's not fun to watch. But same with James Harden a while back. I actually had some takes where it's not fun to watch free throws. It certainly isn't. But there becomes a point where players become so good that all you really can do is foul them. And in a lot of situations, that is what happens with Joel Embiid. But I do think it creates some bias with the refs, where they see any amount of him missing or something, and they associate that with him being fouled. Like, there was a couple plays tonight. There was that one egregious one. I know Jonah tweeted it out, or I think I'm trying to think what their Twitter name is. Huncho Man. I could be wrong. But I think Cooper also tweeted it out. But I mean, it's just like so bad. It's just like the typical Joel Embiid flop. But yeah, my Discord has been totally hacked. It was not me. It would take the moon crashing into the earth to make me praise Towns. Yeah, pretty much. But he's been pretty decent. Even tonight, he had a couple bad plays tonight, but it was more just like regular bad plays. I don't know how to describe it, but like we all know Towns has these like just absolute brain fart, terrible moments, and we didn't really have that happen. So that was good. But, overall, pretty good contribution from all of our main players. Anthony Edwards had 25. Russell had 19. Towns only had 12 points. Wow, it felt like he did better than that. Interesting. And he only shot 5 of 14. I thought he felt fine out there. But that's kind of the thing with Towns, is like a lot of the times he will – I am so tired about hearing it. Sorry, I'm reading the chat too. I'm tired of hearing about the refs. I kind of am too, especially from a Minnesota perspective. Like, there's two elements to it. One, I'm tired of hearing about it from – I'll leave this up here so people know what I'm talking about. One element is I'm tired of just using it as an excuse for games. I really don't want to hear it from our side. Like, I don't want to complain and say, oh, the refs beat us. And also, on the flip side, like, there are plays where it's like Minnesota is just treated differently than other teams, because you really have to be like a perennial playoff team to get calls. And we're just not there yet. It's kind of I don't know if it's a respect thing or what, but there's those two different ways you can look at it. But yeah, so I don't know which one you're referring to. I guess I assumed you were referring to us complaining about the Wolves or about the refs, which I would agree with. Towns did fine. He did all the other things great, except for fourth. The fourth was just a bad quarter for all of us. It's bad. The fourth quarter still scare me. I hate that we have the same issues going into this year. Now, we're winning these games. That's a good thing. You just don't you can attribute some of it to them being at home, the 76ers, that is, because they're going to have their crowd behind him. And then that play at the end of the third where I think it was Reed, he does this crazy, like, Shaq'd in a fool, basically, moment, but then makes a basket. It was like a tragic Bronson. That was what I was looking for. But he makes it, and it's just like this huge momentum bucket that takes them into the fourth, and the crowd gets into it for the first time in the game. The first time in the game. That was super disappointing. But then, they just kept going, and they got it down to, what, a 5-4 3-point game, something like that? I mean, we lost the game, or we won the game by 3, but I don't know. It's just crazy. But, yeah, Towns only had 12 points. Gobert was 8 and 13. And then you had Noel, who did some really big shots for us in this game. Noel, there was a point where I think Michael Grady said Noel had 13 points off the bench, and we were up by 13 at that moment. And it was kind of like, wow, Noel is kind of the difference maker right now. So, everybody contributed the ways they needed to. Kyle Anderson becomes an increasingly needed player on our team, which is just so funny. Because I keep saying it, I know it's just boring, but like he just plays ugly basketball, but at the same time, it's just ugly but effective. So it just works. When anyone wins a challenge against us, we become stupid and lose all momentum. I wish our fake coach would actually use. Yeah, there's a point that's similar going off of like Godfrey's comment. Like, there's two ways to look at this. Like one of the ways that I'm looking at this is, Towns. What am I saying? Finch saves them for important moments. And this is kind of on the NBA, realistically, like taking out sides of this is the NBA side. Because the coaches shouldn't have one challenge that they can use in a game. You need to have more challenges in a game. It needs to be like football or, I don't know, just like also maybe something where like if you challenge and you're successful, then you keep your challenge. Some kind of incentive. You don't want to incentivize challenging, but at the same time, you want to have the right calls. So, like, I understand kind of the different perspectives, but I do understand Finch's unwillingness to do it early in the game because you don't want to spend it, especially like thinking of early points in the game where we could have challenged. We were up by like 15. So if you're going to challenge up 15 and then lose that, then you get down to like end of game situation, then it's a little scary. But there were plenty of calls where it was like, Noel seemingly had a clean block on Embiid at a point. So, you hope for these things and you want these things. But, like, I kind of don't want to use my challenge unless it's the fourth quarter. But then you might not have a challengeable play in the fourth quarter. So it's awful. But I do agree. It's very frustrating to not challenge any of these things. So I agree. But, well, since there's no Ashwin to bounce things off of tonight, by the way, very exciting thing. This isn't sponsored because it is Ashwin's game, but I've got my package of the Wolves. It's here. Screenshot this, Ashwin, if you're watching. But I am so excited to play this. This is Ashwin's game, the Wolves, not after the real Wolves, but you can pretend. You can pretend some of these little pieces in here are Anthony Edwards and Rudy Gobert or something like that. But either way, just had to shout that out. That's such a cool thing to have your game by your friend show up at your house and have their name on the bottom. It's just crazy. It's crazy. So shout out Ashwin. But yes, what I was going to do, sorry, I'm looking over here. I'm getting everything set up in the studio, but it's pretty, the apartment's going nice. I'm going to get the tier list going though. But yeah. Moving was hectic. Had to move across obviously from Minnesota. So I'm in Seattle now, if you don't know. So share this. Oops, I left people in the tier list. Oopsies. So I don't really have a particular order I wanted to do this in. So I don't pay attention to the order at the bottom, I guess. Just whatever else there is. We need a bailout. Oh, sorry, I'm catching up. Why isn't Finch calling plays for us in the last 8 minutes of the fourth quarter? We have shown over the last 2 years we cannot. This is a very accurate comment, Gerald. It's frustrating because the Timberwolves for years, pre-Finch, pre-Saunders, pre-everyone, we have not been able to make plays like this. The only time that we really have, and this isn't even play calls. We had Tibbs that was Jimmy was able to hit some clutch shots, but That's just different. So I don't know. And then we need a bailout, and the coach should be the one doing it, not depending. Yeah, and that's the double whammy, is that not only is Finch not calling these plays, or I mean, we don't have any good plays end of game. I mean, think of that. We had that one timeout, I think with 4 minutes to go or something, under 4 minutes to go. We come out, I think we didn't even get the ball off. Like, that's sort of on the players, but it's also sort of on the couch because, like, we need open plays. But we definitely do not want to have D'Lo making those decisions out there. It's just been painful. So, okay. So, I think we're going to do Jalen Noel, Taurean Prince, Kyle Anderson, and then the starters. I don't think we need to do anybody else. Oh, Naz Reid was kind of good too. I can go quick. Since it's just me, I can go quick. So, and sorry, chat, I'm going to have to go back and forth between you. So if I don't see something, bear with me. Oops, I shouldn't be scrolling. I'm all out of sorts. Let's start with Kyle Anderson. So Kyle Anderson played 21 minutes, had 6 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists. This is just a player that's not going to show up on the box score. Was a +7. Only took 5 shots. Doesn't really matter. For me, this Kyle Anderson, there's just some amount of stability that comes with Kyle Anderson being in the game, which is just crazy because I've just never liked his game. But as I said earlier, it's just ugly but effective, and it was effective enough for me, I think, to give me a B. Maybe if you haven't seen the tier list before, C is what we expect out of a player. A1 is like unforgettable game. Wancho, Glenn Taylor are just like the worst. This was a pretty good game. I mean, I'm starting to expect this out of Kyle Anderson, though. So this may be closer to a C game, but like I feel genuinely pretty good about this game from Kyle Anderson, even though the stats don't make it that way. Let's do Naz Reid next. So Naz Reid, if I can find him all the way down here. Naz Reid only played 10 minutes, had 9 points, 4 rebounds, and he did have 5 fouls in those 10 minutes. But that's kind of okay. When you have a team constituted of Karl Anthony Towns, Rudy Gobert, and then even to an extent, Jaden McDaniels as your 3 bigs, you can kind of play. This is what I've said before, and like in the playoffs last year, throw bodies at players, get fouls. I'm not saying hard fouls, but make baskets difficult by fouling. Now, you don't necessarily want to do that against Joel Embiid, who's like, I think he only missed 2 free throws out of his 80 tonight. But he had such energy. He had some nice score. He had one nice play where he did the spin move, made Embiid fall a little bit, but I think he kind of traveled on the play. I didn't watch it I didn't watch the replay a million times, but it looked like a travel to me. But either way, it was a dunk and it looked cool. This again, though, is just kind of like a good Nas game. I just love the energy from Nas. So we're going to go with a B. I think a B works. So next, who was I going to do? We'll do Taurean Prince as well. Taurean, for me right now, so he had 9 points, 3 rebounds. He was 3 of 6 shooting, 1 of 3 from 3. He was apparently the leader in plus-minus tonight. Again, that probably came from the end of the first quarter, second quarter kind of stint where we kind of I think we got up to a 20-point lead at that point. Our bench just looked so much better than theirs because their bench is all their starters right now with how much they're hurt. And thankfully, side note, thankfully Embiid is okay. That looked crazy and that could have been really bad. And then he came back in the game and I was like, okay, we're losing. The crowd is behind him. They've got so much to fight for now. It's just him. But no, Taurean Prince came in and did a really good stint there in the second quarter. And I am feeling a little bit about he hasn't hit any threes as much. He had a couple open threes tonight that he missed, which, as Michael Grady said on the broadcast, sometimes those are the hardest ones. I get it, but at the same time, Taurean was making threes early in the season that I just loved, and I was like, holy cow, if he's going to keep making these, we're in good shape. But it's not happening. He made I think it was 1 of 3 tonight. Yeah, 1 of 3, which is fine. Oh, I didn't check for Arby's. Totally forgot. I don't know if they're going to do the tickets thing again this year. They did it earlier, but it's kind of stupid for them to do it, I think. There's tickets against the Grizzlies. What the heck? Okay, sorry. I have to post this in the Discord. This is insane. Yeah. all upper deck, but okay. There's free tickets for the Memphis Grizzlies game in the Timberwolves app. What the heck? Okay. I got to get this. Sorry. Wasn't expecting to have to do anything during the broadcast. Everyone, tickets. Boom, boom, boom. There we go. Free tickets. Go get them. I can't get them anymore. I would if I was still in Minnesota. Anyways, catching up. Taurean Prince, he was okay. I'm just going to give him a C. I don't want to go too low on him. This is somewhat, I guess, what I expect, but I guess my expectations were a little bit. So this is maybe like a C- for me. Maybe even a D. I'm going to say C, though. I can't give the best plus-minus player D. And then lastly, who else was I going to do? Oh, Jalen Noel. Of course, I can't skip Jalen Noel. Jalen Noel, where are you? 14 minutes, 13 points, nearly a point a minute. Did I say that right? Yes. 2 rebounds, 2 assists, 5 of 7 shooting, 2 of 4 from 3. He just felt good. And I think he really had a block on Embiid that one play. So I'm going to give him that block. So this was just a good Jalen Noel game. I mean, if you play a player 14 minutes and they score 13 points, that's a good bench player. So if you can have production like that from him, the production you had from Naz Reid, and the production you had from Kyle Anderson, like that's 3 people off your bench. You're 8 deep. And that's not even including Taurean Prince, who was apparently our best plus-minus player. So that's playoff depth. That's just playoff depth, and that's what you need out of Jalen Noel when things are going. I mean, he was able to just keep that momentum going in the first and second quarter, which is probably why Taurean Prince is the top plus-minus. But I'm going to give him a B tonight. It maybe seems unfair to give him a B, but I don't know. He just, like, that's what we need out of him. That's kind of what we expect. I mean, that's maybe a little bit better than we expect. But Godfrey says, Wolves up by 8 with 5:30 left. Then D'Lo bad pass. Cat gets his shot blocked. D'Lo turnover. Shot clock violation. Yes. Okay, that's what I was talking about. Should have cruised to the victory. Instead, D'Lo trying his best to piss us away as usual. Not wrong, Godfrey. Not wrong. But also, this wasn't D'Lo's worst game. If I'm trying to be optimistic, because he did have some. Also, he had a very satisfying 33 minutes and 33 seconds in the game. I am a little confused though. It seems like the Wolves' social media right now is pumping out D'Lo content. Like, please look at D'Lo. He didn't suck tonight, which is interesting to me. I don't know why that is. It feels like you would maybe want to say Ant's game. Ant had a pretty good game. Yeah, Gerald, D'Lo was fine. Fine. Yeah, I guess fine is a good word. But then he did crash hard in the last 6 minutes, which is exactly what we were talking about earlier. We don't want to have him being our decision maker late in game unless he is capable of bringing back some. I mean, I'm not trying to overstate his success that he had and with Brooklyn, but like he was capable of making shots. You know, it wasn't like he was a shot maker. He was scoring 30 points a game at times. So like this wasn't like, I get that this is a different roster. He's not the only player that can score on this team, but like, there's elements to it. There's zero ice in his veins. But yeah, so there's just different ways to look at it. But I would say it was fine until the last 6 minutes for sure. Just like Godfrey's saying. All right, there's the bench. Let's move on to the starters, and maybe we'll just start with D'Lo. So D'Lo, as I was saying, 33 minutes and 33 seconds, nice and satisfying. 19 points, 2 rebounds, 7 assists. Did have a steal, 7 of 13 shooting, so not terrible. He was making a couple threes too. He had 3 of 6. He was a -5. I mean, not too much to do. He had 3 turnovers. Apparently, Edwards had more, and Towns had 3 as well. But overall, I mean, like, this is kind of a hard one to grade because, like, my expectations of D'Lo are down, of course. I mean, he's just had such a horrid beginning of the season, other than this last week. But he's still making just such bad mistakes. You know, like, right out the gate, he makes a mistake. It's he lets somebody do a backdoor cut, and he's not close, you know. But then he gets it right back on the next play, doing the same exact thing to them. So, you know, there's positives, there's negatives, but overall, like, this is still, like, the scoring is there, so I guess I'm happy. I'm going to give him a C tonight, just because the scoring was there. I mean, obviously he had some assists too, and like he's definitely playing with more pep. He's definitely playing with more energy. You can tell that he's trying, but this is the thing though. You just can't. This can't be the time when the trying starts. This is an off season thing. This is everything. I know he's had a busy off season. Family comes first, of course, but like, man, it's just you really want to have high efficiency D'Lo, which you did in the shooting department tonight. And turnovers wasn't terrible. So, anyways, I'm rambling. It's a C. I think it's just a C. I certainly would take less turnovers, and I'd certainly take more shots. It's hard not to be grateful he wasn't complete shit is exactly what I was trying to say. Exactly. Man, what a win for Minnesota, says Nico the Piggy Builder. Build mode series. I have no idea what that means, Nico. But yeah, that was a good win for us. Well, I don't know if it was a good win. It was a necessary win. This is take us to 8-8 now. Am I right about that? I don't even know. I don't have it. I think we're 8-8 now, or at least closer to 500, which is important. We need to be that. But yes, Timberwolves do win. They should have won by 20, and we didn't. That's the Timberwolves way. That's just how it works. But anyways, we're going to move on to who do I have up next? Let's just do Rudy. We'll just go in this order. I don't think it really matters. I just looked at Bryn Forbes there at the bottom, and I thought it was Ben Simmons. I had to do a weird double take. Okay. Next, Rudy Gobert. I already forgot. 8 points, 13 rebounds in 28 minutes. Had a bit of foul trouble, had 5 personal fouls. He was 4 of 7 from the field. Not that really matters. It's not what you're looking for. He had 8 defensive rebounds, 5 offensive rebounds. Kind of an expected game from him. He had some really good defense at moments against Embiid, and I also thought that he had maybe some unfair calls in the beginning. But again, they're kind of fouls, but they're also kind of not. It's like fouls where it's like, oh, you're going to call that more so. Less that's not a foul, and why are you calling that? So I don't know. It felt okay. I still liked his presence out there tonight. It didn't feel like a negative. We're still trying to give him the ball like too much. And I think Jim Pete was talking about it on the broadcast, but like we're giving him the ball too far away from the basket. He needs to be under the basket. And that one play, I actually tweeted it out, where he was in the dunker spot and Ant just lobbed it to him. Perfect. That was like, I want more of that. If we can do that, like, I think it was Embiid that was kind of on Gobert at that moment. And it's like, he had to make the decision to either let Ant get an open dunk or let Ant throw the lob. And it's just a perfect situation. This is just such easy, simple basketball, but like this is something the Timberwolves have never done. And Ant has even said as much. Like he doesn't even throw lobs. So that was an exciting play. I'm going to give Gobert a C, just because I expected it tonight. Nothing against him. Nothing. This isn't a bad performance. Again, if you're new here, C just means it's what we expect. So is your city the Minneapolis Wolves? What? We're Minnesota Timberwolves, but yeah, it's the James Harden, Clint Capella play style. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I hate that I want this, but like I've wanted that old Rockets style defense where you just have James Harden kick it out to 3-point shooters. It just works when it works, but if it doesn't, then whatever. Lenny Beeson. Sorry if I said that wrong. The coach doesn't drop good plays in crunch time. He just lets the players play one-on-one. Lenny, I wish you were here 10 minutes ago because we were just talking. Gerald brought that same exact point up. Yes. And then not only are we letting them play one-on-one, we're letting D'Lo make these decisions one-on-one, which can be, it's either amazing or terrible. But yeah. And Ant, you're talking about which Ant could do all day long with Gobert if he wanted to, is throw the lob. It could happen. You just got to get penetration. You make the center choose. What are they going to do? And it doesn't matter. They can't stop it, especially tonight though, because they just didn't have any other bigs other than Embiid. So yeah. Reminder, if you're new here, feel free to subscribe. We do this after every game, and tonight's maybe a little sloppy, not as nice of production because I just moved to Seattle. But we're here after a win, and that's how it works. So feel free to subscribe and join the Discord. It's in the link in the bio, something. It's Karl-Anthony Towns next. So as we were discussing earlier, Carl felt like it was a pretty good game tonight, but he only ended up with 12 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists. He was 5 of 14 shooting, 2 of 7 from 3, had 4 personal fouls. And I think he only had, I don't know if he had any personal fouls until nearly like halftime. And then he just started racking them up. This is going to be a weird grade again, because I'm not basing it off the stats. Like obviously if you had to guess a Karl-Anthony Towns stat line, like if you were setting the over-unders for Karl-Anthony Towns points, rebounds, stuff like that, you're probably going to say, oh yeah, 20-ish points, 8-ish rebounds. So maybe the 8 rebounds are right, but like 12 points, you certainly expect more from somebody who's a self-proclaimed like best shooting big, but with that said, this was like a not so bad game. The times that I criticize Carl is when he's doing too much. And I didn't feel like he was doing too much other than like late game situations. He took a 3 and was blocked by like a 5'6" player, which was disappointing in a clutch moment. But like, he's just been playing better. He's getting the ball to Towns when he needs to, or getting the ball to Gobert when he needs to. He's trying maybe too much at times to do that, but he's been better. He's just been better. And if you're new here, me and Ashwin, my co-host, is usually here. We're pretty critical of Towns, but like honestly, this wasn't like the worst game from Towns. So I'm gonna give him a C, even though like we expect more point wise, like effort wise, and like IQ wise. I don't even know why I'm mentioning IQ with Karl-Anthony Towns in the same sentence. Basketball IQ, that is. But it was a C, and that's all I'm gonna say. There's nothing else to say about it because it was 5 of 14, and I could very easily convince myself to go down to D, but I won't. It's a C. It's okay. It's okay. Anyways, next, who do we got? We got Jaden. Okay, Jaden is a problem right now. I understand Jaden's not the person that you're going to look for the box score on. You're not going to be like, oh, did Jaden get his normal 20 points, 8 rebounds, and 3 assists and 3 steals or something like that? Like, that's not what you're looking for. Now, he did get 3 steals tonight. I was just kind of making that up out of thin air. But he had 11 points, 1 rebound, 1 assist, 3 steals, a block. He was 4 of 6 shooting. Only had 3 personal fouls, but, like, he's just kind of lost looking out there at times. There was even a moment early in the game, I think it was early in the game, where D'Lo was looking for somebody to set a screen, and he kept calling Jaden up, and he just wasn't going. And then Towns, after the play was over, had to be like, hey, you are supposed to go over and screen for him. Now, should we have Jaden be screening? I don't know. There's like different conversations that maybe could be had about that. But like, it just seems like Jaden gets lost in the beginning of the season. And it seems like this happened last year too. Like, I think last year he was equally as lost in the beginning of the season. And I was just kind of down on him. And I was like, we should have traded him for Ben Simmons, which is a wildly terrible take. And I'm sorry for that. And I've already apologized publicly for this, so you can't get mad at me. But Jaden had a bad game. And I think Jaden's performance tonight is a D. It's sad to do this because I was really looking forward to Jaden this season, but it just hasn't been that good. We need either more. He shot okay, but he only took 6 shots tonight. Like 11 points, 3 steals. Like, it's good. Like, we won. So, like, what does it matter, in the end? But, like, it's just not looking like true Jaden basketball, which we may get to. Like, last season, we got to it. And in the playoffs, he was huge. He like that last game 6, he scored like 9-12 points in a row or something like that at a point. So we know he's capable. He's still young. So is Ant. But yeah, so I'm going to give him a D tonight, but we're just going to leave it at that. And then lastly, we're not going to do Ben Simmons lookalike Bryn Forbes down here. We're going to do Anthony Edwards. So Anthony Edwards obviously had, I guess, the performance of the night. 25, 5, and 5. Did have a steal and a block as well. He was 7 of 21 shooting, so pretty inefficient. 2 of 10 from 3, but one of those threes was a huge 3 near the end of the game, which also delivered on the free tickets. By the way, if you're new, there were free tickets in our Discord. We put it in the free tickets channel. Timberwolves put out free tickets after they hit 12 threes sometimes, and they did tonight for the Memphis game. So feel free to check that out. Join the Discord. We talk in the game. It's a little bit easier to talk there than Twitter and text chats and stuff like that. But yeah, so anyways, Anthony Edwards, 25, 5, and 5. He was 9 of 9 from the free throw line, though, and he was beating Embiid early. He had a great play early in the game that was, I mean, he just bullied Embiid, and it was perfect. He got the end one. So also, we got Embiid in foul trouble early in the game. That's more of a team stat rather than an Anthony Edwards stat, but still. But then we just stopped doing that. Anyways, and he played good defense in the last play of the game. This is a good performance from Ant. We need more consistency, as he noted himself. I think for Ant tonight, I'm hovering. Jared, you and I, we're kind of on the same wavelength here, okay? I'm thinking C. It seems crazy to say C because he kind of was like the player doing things for us. But this is kind of what I expect, right? This is what we expect out of Ant. We have high expectations, and C is what we expect. So I kind of want to go with C. You can yell at me in the chat if you want a different grade, but I'm thinking C. I gave him a B in the Discord, but you're probably right. It's a C game. Yeah, I should look at the Discord and see what everybody said, see if we lined up. But it wasn't an efficient game. Sure, he did well, and this is what stars need to do. They need to get buckets regardless. So 7 of 21, that sucks, but he was getting buckets, he was getting to the line. He tried to hammer it home on Embiid, which would have been, I would have jumped up I was watching in bed. I would have jumped out of my bed. It would have just been, it could have been a really, really good night for him. And he started really hot, but then he just died off. This is just how Ant goes. And, some of that, we might just have to accept. Ant's just a player that can explode in any moment and maybe multiple times in a game. But I don't think we can expect him to be that full game, fully on. He was sometimes in the playoffs for us. But man, you just need the super, super consistency. And I think the crowd maybe kept him in a little bit tonight, but overall. So yeah, Jaden, everybody give a C. Towns is kind of all over the board. Gobert, mainly C. Anthony Edwards, most people gave him a B. I think we're going to go with C. I think we're going to go with C for Anthony Edwards tonight. It was fine. We'll put him right in the middle of C. How about that? But yeah, so obviously we're not going to grade any other players because that was enough. That's enough. But Timberwolves win by 3 points. I think it was 112. Let me see, 112 to 109. Free tickets in the Timberwolves app and in our Discord. It might be easier to go to our Discord. The link is just right there. And the Timberwolves are now 8-8. So are the 76ers. Wow. So that was a really good win. Again, they're injured and we should have won handily. So I guess you could maybe call this a mental loss. But overall, you need to win these games. We're not going to be doing standing watching, but I am going to go to the standings just to get a general idea. Obviously, we are nowhere near. We're 8-8. We're going to play 16 games. But, it's just kind of good to see where you are. And we're in 10th right now. But keep in mind that 10th is 2.5 games back in first place. So, we don't need to be too worried yet. And the good news is that now that what have we won 3 in a row? Yeah, we've won 3 in a row now, which was just much needed. We had such bad games in a row, and it felt like we were going to go into this stretch, and it was we're playing some better teams, and we're going to lose, like the 76ers. Now, we weren't expecting Tyrese Maxey to be out. We weren't expecting – I guess in our minds we weren't thinking that they played last night, but they obviously did. And then, on Monday, we play the Heat, but we get more injury luck. Maybe that's the wrong thing to say, but Jimmy Butler, general soreness, is out on Monday. So we play the Monday Heat game is at home at Target Center. Then we play the Pacers. Then we play the Hornets. So really got to get past that Heat game. And if we're gonna do this is kind of what I want to start doing at the end of these streams is go over. Oh, we were doing some hot takes. I don't have Ashwin here though. It's a little bit more fun when that happens. But Godfrey says Ant scores last 7 points, saves them from a humiliating loss, grade A. Not wrong. That isn't wrong. But I do think that he had really bad efficiency this game. He definitely was the player, as I said, but and maybe it is worth saying that he saved the game for us because he did. If we don't have Ant out there, we lose this game. Karl Anthony Towns doesn't have the composure. Rudy Gobert doesn't have the ability to win the game like that. D'Lo maybe has the ability, but we're not going to see that happen. I guess I can't say that, though, because against the 76ers last year, he did. But, like, that's a once-in-a-blue moon type of situation. Ant needs to be that guy, and he was that guy for us. So that's what's important. So instead of a bold take, I'll go with a record prediction. We'll see. I don't remember. We did record predictions going into the season. And by this point, I'm sure I had as much more better than 8-8, but I also probably had everybody else. I did not have the Jazz being tied for first or whatever they are. So Heat game, at home, I don't know. I kind of think I want to say we win because we always beat the Heat recently, but that's because of Jimmy Butler. That's not because of really any other reason. So I'm going to say we win. Even though Jimmy Butler's out, I think we win. Pacers, even though we're at the Pacers, we should beat the Pacers, but I haven't watched much of the Pacers this year, but it sounds like they might be a little fun to watch. I could be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. And then the Hornets, we should beat the Hornets, but the Hornets have been putting up some fights in games that they shouldn't be putting up fights in, so I don't know what's going on there. So yeah, I mean, realistically, we should at least go 2-1. If we go 1-2, that's sad. If we go 3-0, yay, we're first place. No, we're not first place, but yeah. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday games. So Monday night's game, I should be here for. I don't know if Ashwin will be here. Wednesday's game, I should be available. I think we'll reconvene, and then it looks like Friday's game, I should be available because I'm actually off of work that day. So we're all good. I'm here in Seattle. Ashwin will be here. Maybe someday Ashwin and I will sit here side by side and do a show. That would be kind of fun. I've got my fancy light. I wish I could show you these things, but the camera's kind of mounted right now. Also, I can't find anything, but I have my light just like taped to the wall up here. It's such a better setup. I've got this nice fancy luxury concrete behind me. But yeah. So Timberwolves 3-0 next couple games. Possibly. But I think that's it. That's it for tonight's show. If you are new here, please feel free to subscribe. We do this after every game. Hang out, talk Wolves, good or bad. Join the Discord. We talk during the game in the Discord. Sometimes I'm not there, but there's a lot of people in there. We do the tier lists, give away free tickets. There are free tickets in the Discord right now, so please join the Discord. And we will see you Monday night. 52 wins still in play. And as is tradition, we will do the intro as the outro. Everybody needs to jam with me because this is just the best. I love the intro as the outro. All right. See you on Monday night.